Hello everyone. What I'd like to do now is show you the data portion of how to interact with the database and some of the requirements for doing so. The first thing I'd like to do is take you to your student files, go to the meta-inf subdirectory, open up your context.xml file, and I'm not going to waste your time by going through and explaining these options here, but I do want to direct your attention to the most important aspect of it. I put up a number of comments here that you can take a look at. If you have any questions about them, first do the research, and then if you still have any comments, please post them to the discussion board. Number one, the first thing you have to have is a context path, and that is the basis for where the application begins. And our application begins at 4368. And so that's what we're using as the root path for our application, / LIS4368. Next, what you want to do, you can keep most of what I've given you here. Again, make sure that, change the color here, make sure that what you have is in line. The resource tag should be exactly like this. Now, a couple things. What you want to have here, number one, is, and by the way, the remainder of your code is dependent upon this context.xml file. So here, you want to have your FSU ID because the name of your database is your FSU ID. So put your FSU ID there. You also want to make sure that the JDBC name, this is very crucial when we're talking about the remaining portion of the database connectivity. Make sure that name tag, or I should say the name attribute, is JDBC / your FSU ID. So make sure that this line right here, line 33, is exactly like that. Next, the other two options you need to change is your username is whatever username that you log in to your MySQL database on your machine. So when you installed MySQL, whatever you log in on your machine, not to the CCI server, but your machine, you have to have that. So, for instance, if you had AMPS installed, the username would be root and the password would be lowercase MySQL. But if you installed MySQL as a separate entity, then what you do is need to put your username here and your password right here. That's how it would automatically connect. So again, the three things you generally have to change are make sure you have your FSU ID after the 3306 / for the name attribute. You have to have your FSU ID again, and again, not your FSU ID, not these characters, but your actual FSU ID. Okay, just in case some of you get confused with that. And then finally, your username and your password. Okay, so that is that. I'm going to close out of this. The next area that we want to go to, which is crucial, is the web-inf. Now I'm going to go to classes here. I'm going to go to CRUD and go to business and go to customer. Now here we have customer, and I really just kind of want to go through this briefly. I'm going to go through my customer so you can see that, and I'm going to go to web-inf, and again, this should have been done in assignment number 4, but I'm just going to do a diff comparison. So here's my customer.java file, and I'm going to diff that, make it a little bit larger, and then change the font, and then go to yours. First, I'm going to diff this. Oops. Diff that, and then go to yours. and it will show the differences here. I showed this in a previous video, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but again, make sure that I give you FName, LName, email. You're going to have to put street, city, state, zip, phone, just as you did for assignment number 4. Of course, I give you email, so you're going to have to add balance, total sales, and notes. Be sure of the capitalization of total sales, lowercase total, capital S for sales. Keep going down. You're going to have to add inside of the default constructor. All you have is FName, LName, and email. You can see on your line 29 over here, you're going to have to add street, city, state, zip, phone, and then of course balance, total sales, and notes. Notice for the constructor with parameters, you're going to have to add those parameters to it as per the left-hand side. Mine is on the left-hand side. Yours is on the right-hand side. You're going to have to add the street, this street, city, state, zip, phone, etc. that's there on the left-hand side. Again, I'm doing this comparison. Balance, total sales, notes. There's some comments there for you too that you may want to take a look at, and what getters and setters are for. There's a link as well too, and here are the getters and setters that I mentioned to you before. I gave you FName, LName, and email, and what you're going to have to do is street, as per here, street, get street, set street, get city, set city, get state, set state, get zip, set zip. And again, this is pretty straightforward. I've given this to you before. Get phone, set phone. I gave you email, so we could bypass that. Balance, total sales, and notes. And so you could see the code that's over there. Go back over here quickly and review that, just so you could see the difference. And there it is. So get balance, set balance, gets total sales, set total sales, and again, be careful that it's spelled as this according to the Java Bean requirement. And if you need to understand what the Java Bean requirement is, make sure you look that up first. If you have any questions about it, please post it to the discussion board. Okay, that's the customer .java file that we already went into this before. Now what I want to do is go into one that you don't have at all, and that's the data subdirectory. So you need the entire data subdirectory. Before I go into that, I just want to compare the customer servlet again one last time, because we've done this before as well too. And I'm going to go into that, just do a side-by-side diff comparison just to show you that. And I'm going to do mine. Again, mine's going to be on the left-hand side, and yours is going to be on the right-hand side. And you'll see the differences here as I point them out. And I'm going to go to the top of the file here, do an ediff, and then go to yours and do the same thing. And change the font color, and I'm going to probably have to keep it at this size, gang, because there's just a lot of content here. Let me differentiate these. For the customer servlet, note, I'm going to make this a little bit larger. There is a difference here, and that is you're going to have to add the, you could see on my line 22, you're going to have to add an import statement to, you have import crud.business.customer, you're pulling in a customer class, but you're also now going to have to pull in the customer DB, which we'll show you here in a second. Now that's coming from the package data, which I'll show you here in a second. There's actually 3 files that you'll be associated with that. So you're going to do that. Add that, line 22. You could see how it's different on yours. And I'm going to continue to do a diff here. On line 24, I just have a comment here, and that's showing you the difference of the servlet mapping for 3.0, that you would just use an @ symbol web servlet and then indicate the name of that servlet, how you would want it to be appear in the URL. So while this servlet is named customer list servlet, as you can see here, right, just like yours, this servlet is named customer list servlet. We're going to map it to this URL, / lowercase customer, uppercase L for list. Okay, that's why we use a servlet mapping, so we could change the URL on that in case it's, for whatever reasons, for data hiding. Maybe the customer, maybe the servlet name is long, and we can change that. Okay, I have some additional information here for you. What we're going to be doing is adding get parameters for if the user wants to add a record. We're going to use the get parameter method, and what that's going to do is going to get the values from that particular form control in the actual application. So remember, going back to this form, each one of them have a name attribute, right? So here it's lowercase f name, lowercase l. I'm talking about behind the scenes. So when we go to the source, you could see the name attribute here, right? So here's our name attribute right here. Name is L name, name is street, city, state, zip, and by the way, it is case sensitive. Name here is F name, and the get parameter value has to agree with that. So you could see here that each one of these is according to the name attribute of that particular form. Okay? So that form control, the name attribute has to agree, and that get parameter is getting the value of what the user enters and storing it in these variables. And by the way, all data coming from a form is a string, including numeric data. That's why all these variables are string variables. Okay, let's continue on. So you're going to have to add, I gave you F name, L name, and the email. Excuse me. You're going to have to add street, city, state, zip, phone. You're also going to have to add after email, balance, total underscore sales. The reason why we did that is because in the form attribute is total underscore sales. Again, going back here to the source, you could see that the name of this control is actually total underscore sales. The get parameter is method is getting the values from those particular controls. Okay, next I added here that we're going to be using a string message to capture a user entry. The only difference on yours, I said, it's to display user entry. So I could just switch that right now by typing an A. And when I type in an A, notice how it changed right away. So it automatically made the change from mine to yours. Continue on. We're going to add a new user, and that new user is going to contain all of those variables. So take a look at the variables on the left-hand side, on my line 68 on the left-hand side. We're going to include, I gave you first name, last name, and email. We're going to include street, city, state, zip. You have email, balance, total sales. Now I'm going to make this a little bit smaller because it's hard to read there. So let me make this a little bit smaller here so that you can actually see there it is right there. Okay, here is the line that you need, and compared to your line 57. That's my line 68 compared to your line 57 has to be added. So what's on the left-hand side has to be added to yours on the right-hand side. All right, continuing on, we're going to have to do our data validation. Now, you should have this from assignment number 4. Here, what you don't have, on your line 75 there, you can see where the green is. Right underneath the URL thanks, / thanks, where it's going to forward that to the thanks page, you need to add this. So we're going to actually make the insert command from the customer DB class. There's going to be not an insert command, but an insert method that we're going to include, and I'm going to show you that in another video. An insert method, and this statement here on my line 93 has to be added right directly under where the thanks.jsp statement is, and that thanks.jsp is on your line 74, as you can see. So all you have to do is just add that line right here. Just put that line, my line 93, right there. Okay? All right. Moving on. And at this point, you could see that there are no more differences. So those are all the differences here for this particular customer list servlet file that you have here inside of your info. So you're going to have to recompile that, gang, after you make the modifications. So how to recompile? All you have to do is go to this page right here, your documentation for assignment 5, and then what I would do if I were you, just in case you made any changes, I would recompile everything. Okay, recompile everything, including the servlet. This is how you recompile the servlet, by the way. And then finally, I'll show you in another video these because it's going to require a bit of time on this next video. There are 3 files associated with it, and I'll show you how to compile those. All right, gang. See you in another video.